Today we're taking a look at the difference between helium, regular air, and sulfur hexafluoride in balloons. On Twitter, user Monkey Humor said, "Hey, King of Random, can you inhale helium, then blow up a balloon?" As I interpret that question, the goal is to see if we can inhale helium sort of straight from the tank and then blow it into a balloon and still get a balloon that floats. And I'm particularly intrigued by this because I think I've seen this in cartoons growing up all the time. People would just blow up a balloon and then it would float away. And once I understood anything about science and buoyancy, I thought, hey, why is that happening? What is in their lungs that they can blow up a balloon that floats away? Here's the basic idea. We're gonna try breathing in helium, then breathing it into a balloon to see if we can blow up a balloon with our breath that will float. Not only are we gonna try this with helium, but we're actually gonna try sort of the opposite as well. We're gonna take some sulfur hexafluoride, which you might remember is the deep voice gas. You breathe it in and your voice comes out sounding like this. So we wanna try the same idea with that. Breathe sulfur hexafluoride in, breathe that out into a balloon, see what happens. We also might see what happens if we mix the two.
I feel like this is a race.
So you're saying we each take a tank, we each take a balloon,
yes,
and we see who can breathe into a balloon and get it to float fastest.
It's not incredibly safe to breathe directly from the tank into your lungs and into a balloon. So I think that we need to fill up a balloon, breathe from that balloon, and then into a second balloon. If we start to feel lightheaded, we'd have to tap out. No passing out in this contest. Guys, helium displaces the air in your lungs. If you breathe in too much of it, you will get lightheaded because you are technically asphyxiating. You do want to stop if you get lightheaded. That's not good.
Fortunately, helium does rise, and so it does kind of try and escape your lungs, and regular air tries to fill it back in. But if you're just breathing helium in over and over, there's a good chance that the regular air won't have enough time to get in there. So we'll definitely want to take some breaths in between moving from one balloon to the other.
Go.
Oh, there's the lightheadedness. I feel it. Ha ha! It's floating! It's floating! Oh boy, I'm not floating. Going down, going down.
See how I stopped and took a breath? I'm fine.
We breathed a balloon that floats into the air like something straight out of a cartoon.
So this is not 100% helium that we've got in these because our tanks don't have 100% helium. These are 80%, plus the fact that we still had some oxygen, carbon dioxide in our lungs.
And nitrogen. The tanks and our lungs also had nitrogen. So
that is true.
Helium, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and trace other elements. I'm gonna blow up another balloon with helium and I'm gonna try and match it to the size of this one. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Smoked it.
There's our difference right there.
So we've definitely got more helium in this one. This is less dense, and you can definitely see that they do not take off at the same speed as a result. All right, I also want to test like the lifting capacity of these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie strings onto the bottom of them and then slowly add weights and see how much weight each one can take.
Mine is already slowed down with 3, just a little. All right, wait, what's yours at?
Mine is currently at 11 paper clips, and it's just, look at this, it's like almost perfectly even. It's barely going down.
Awesome.
And I took one off of mine, so now I'm at 10, and mine's going up. So for me, 10 is the most, and for you, 4 is the most.
It is, but mine's also being held up by static electricity right now.
We are able to blow up a balloon with our breath that then floats. It doesn't float in the air as much. We have about half as much weight on it, and that's just pulling it down. So, yes, it does work. No, it does not work as filling it directly from the tank. Now we want to try sort of the opposite direction. We want to see if we can make heavier than air balloons, even more than normal. This balloon is now full of sulfur hexafluoride. If you haven't seen us using sulfur hexafluoride before, there's a couple neat things about it. The first is that it's about 6 times more dense than air, which means that it's heavy for a balloon. The other thing that it's known for is having an opposite effect on your voice as helium.
Instead of making your voice high, it makes your voice low. Pretty cool.
We're gonna make a helium sulfur hexafluoride cocktail. Say when.
Okay, okay, sulfur hexafluoride's definitely winning here.
This one has sulfur hexafluoride. This one has just normal breath. it's pulling down pretty hard. Helium is lighter than air, but not nearly as much lighter as sulfur hexafluoride is heavier. So it overcomes it pretty easily. I think we need to move on to our next experiment. To start this experiment off, we've got a balloon filled with breath in a container full of just air. So this is a little bit heavier than the air around it, just because it has a little bit higher concentration of carbon dioxide, and because it has a balloon around it. The balloon itself adds weight. But now what we're gonna do is introduce a gas into the box that's way heavier than the air and even the carbon dioxide in that balloon. Look at that. So that is a balloon that was sinking in regular air. When the box was full of just the normal air around us, it sunk straight to the bottom. Now it's floating. Helium balloon into sulfur hexafluoride.
That's going well.
Wow, that has a lot of resistance on it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of like trying to push a ball down
into
water. This is the one that had sulfur hexafluoride and some helium in it. Right to the bottom.
Makes sense.
Sinks right through. While this one is still floating. Can we fill a balloon with our breath that will sink into the sulfur hexafluoride?
How do you want to do that?
Same way, fill a balloon with sulfur hexafluoride, breathe out of that balloon, breathe into the other balloon, maybe take a couple gap breaths to keep from passing out, and just do the same thing, blowing up a balloon, see if we can get it to sink.
I'm going to stand behind him in case he blacks out.
Thank you.
You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good.
Taking a little breather here.
Mostly better? Still in there.
Yeah.
Hang on.
You survived.
Still a little bit lightheaded now. Let me just fill the rest away.
All right, let's see
This
these
one I'm
two.
going to label as sulfur hexafluoride breath.
This one is oxygen, but if anyone was ever wondering how bad my handwriting is.
All right, hang on. I do want to refill this box. Toss that in, see how it's doing. Lovely.
Yes, perfect. Here is your breath balloon.
Sulfur hexafluoride breath. Did it work? Did it work? It worked! Sinks right down through. Sulfur hexafluoride, much heavier than air, but it's not the only gas that's heavier than air. Carbon dioxide is also heavier than air, and while we breathe out some of it, still what we breathe out is mostly nitrogen with a fair amount of oxygen still mixed in there. But we do have a good way of getting a concentrated carbon dioxide. We want to get this carbon dioxide out of the dry ice and into this balloon, so we're going to use a little bit of hot water to do so. That looks pretty good.
Compare it with the SFX. Is it, which is?
The sulfur hexafluoride is still much heavier than the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide versus just breath. I would say the carbon dioxide feels a little bit heavier. There you go. That's a good demonstration right there. Definitely heavier. Let's see how it does in our sulfur hexafluoride box. Yep, floats nicely. Carbon dioxide balloon. That sinks right down through it.
Cool.
Very clear demonstration that the carbon dioxide is heavier. You know what else we could do though? We might be able to actually weigh these. To start out though, we're just gonna take an uninflated balloon and we're gonna set that right on the scale. That is showing up as 3.2 grams. 2.85 for this one, 2.9 for that one. I'm going back to this yellow one. Was that really that much heavier? 3.2, that's a heavier balloon. I'm gonna take this and I'm going to press tear. That's gonna level it out. That means that with a balloon on it, that's what it's gonna register as 0. So now if I take a balloon off, it should go down to negative that much. Now here we have a balloon that is full of breath. Now we were getting a result of about 3.5 grams. This is a very sensitive scale, however. If I just push my hand down above this, it easily registers on the scale, just the air pushing down on the balloon. So about 3.5 grams, it was resting up against the back of this, but let's try the CO2. I think that's gonna be the next closest result. That is showing up as about 8.5 grams.
Holy cow.
3.5 grams for just breath up to, well, maybe even 9.5. That's kind of where it's registering now. Sulfur hexafluoride.
What is it? What is it?
Well, if I can get it to stay on there, it's up at about 30 grams.
Oh my gosh.
Balance. Come on, balloon. almost 10 times as heavy as breath.
Yeah.
Really significant difference between the sulfur hexafluoride and the breath balloon. Apparently
Why
there's
was that
something
one?
very scratchy inside our box. 3 balloons just spontaneously exploded all in a row, and we don't know what caused it. There is another thing I do want to test because I suspect a lot of you will want to see it, and that is breathing in sulfur hexafluoride and then breathing in helium and seeing what the result is.
Not mixing them.
I
one after
suspect
the
it's
other.
going to be like your balloon. Now, lungs are actually not like balloons. They're often depicted that way. They're really more like a sponge material on the inside, so it's not just a bag full of air. I'm just gonna try and like hold my breath for a second, and then I'm gonna breathe helium on top of that, and I'm gonna see if it's possible to get like a layered voice effect where I have like helium up first and then my voice drops down to here.
Where's your voice at?
Right here.
Wow.
Okay, what result am I getting? That's actually kind of strange. I am getting almost a mix. Now it's
Yeah.
just sulfur hexafluoride, and I need to breathe.
But it worked for half a second. That was cool.
This time I'm gonna try it again and have just a little bit of the sulfur hexafluoride and then like the rest of this helium.
Take some deep breaths for a second. Your lips have gone blue again.
Is that okay?
Now starting out, it's actually fairly normal. I heard
then
a
you go-
tiny bit of a squeak for a second. I'm just gonna keep talking and I don't know what's gonna happen or if there was enough sulfur hexafluoride to make any difference at all. I am kind of running out of breath though, so if there is any sulfur hexafluoride, I'm gonna hit it soon. I don't think it's gonna happen. There wasn't enough in there. The helium won out. So you can overpower it with helium, but mostly it just made my voice normal. Like to me, it didn't sound that weird.
It didn't change that much.
So I think they did mix, but they mixed in just the right ratio that they're just like, call it a wash. Monkey humor, thank you for your suggestion. Editors, if we can find a picture of Dr. Doofenshmirtz with Mr. Balloony, just flash that image up on the screen at some point.
Guys, that's not all. You know, we've always got more for you to see. That box at the top is going to take you to our last video. You should go check that out. The other box is going to show you YouTube things you should be watching next. And if you hit this bomb in the middle, you'll be subscribed to our channel so you never miss out on a video. Don't forget to ring that bell, and we will see you in the next one. Talk to you then.